I hope he rots in jail for my only child.
She full of class like school, style like gel, pretty face, clean body, yeah, you hot like hell. Angel, you bad. I mean, I say, Rienson, I represent for Angel families. I mean, I say, like, share, comment, subscribe.
What's up, one Angel family? Welcome back to another video, and this is a video that I did not want to do. I did not want to touch on this topic because this is very sad and heartbreaking. To be honest, I feel very, very upset about this situation. It's very depressing and sad. This story is about the 20-year-old girl that her body was found near Portmore fishing village in St. Catherine. It's 20-year-old Khanice Jackson, and I did not want to say anything on this because to me this is just sad and everything in one. But I saw this video on YouTube where Holness was giving his support to the family, and I was very pleased with this to see that he actually recognized the situation, what happened, and feel some type of way and feel the need for justice, because a whole heap of people get killed, whole heap of kids, young girls, raped, kidnapped in Jamaica, and nothing done about it. It's full time now for the law change, and with them need drastic measures when it comes on to situation like this, because I don't see why a man will commit an act like this should go to jail and eat taxpayer money. You what I say? If you know say him do the crime, you're 100% sure say him do the crime. Them people have to get death penalty. Them people have to just leg out down in a ghetto where people want to kill them, chop them up fine. Because them something are not right. These things is not right. And as a female, me can't imagine what a little girl go through. What she go through before them take her life. It is very sad. Very, very sad. I really, really never want to touch on that story because it really break my heart, but not lie. It really break my heart. But I hope them get justice for her. It seems like so far, it seems like they will get justice for her. But I don't see why that person should go to jail, go eat taxpayer money. Anyway, listen to what Holness had to say when he visited the family home.
I hope he rots in jail for my only child.
Deep sadness, indeed outrage at what has happened. What has particularly touched by this heartless, senseless killing. And we are observing that there are increased attacks on our women. So an interesting part of this whole thing is the police response, which I am interrogating myself. And I've had a discussion with ECP Bailey and with the Commissioner of Police. We have changed our protocols as it relates to reports made of missing persons. Previously, before the police could launch an investigation into missing persons, they would have had to allow for 24 hours to elapse. Now the protocols changed, I believe early last year they were changed. So the police would immediately take a statement and then escalate that statement for further assessment as to whether or not the case should proceed towards investigation. This will be looked into as to whether or not the procedures were followed. The BCP, you could explain.
The protocol as outlined by the PM was revised And immediately, once we get a report, we actually start the process. And risk assessment is done, and it is elevated based on the risk assessment. In this particular situation, my understanding of the report came out 8 o'clock. And there was some activity.
Yes, excuse me, you know why? Because when I found her, when she was missing, the birthday called me. It was 12 and 1 because she never turned up. But when they called me first at 12, I never understand enough about it because I said the place is big. So she met in a different department with that lady called me. She asked me for her number and I gave it to her. But 1:50 now when another person called, I said, this is serious. And I started calling her phone and it was wrong and nobody answered. And everybody is saying it doesn't make sense about the station because you have to miss 24 hours.
So we took it, excuse me, I'm sorry, I'm her sister. And so right after that, we took it in our own hands. I wasn't at work and I drove my car. I am aware of his name, the guy that who normally takes her to work. I'm aware of his name and the type of car that he drove. And I drove my own car to his workplace after one immediately after she got the news that she didn't show up to work. But that is not her. And we went to his workplace. And I went there, I used my head as if I was a customer because the BMW place that he works is a mechanic. And when we got there, it was definitely him. And they said he did show up in the morning, but he hasn't come back to work. And they doubt he's going to come back. And I waited around at least an hour to see if he would show up. And he didn't. And I left my number with the security. And he called me in the night on a blocked number. And when I said he thought I was a customer, I said to him, Mr. Prime Minister, by the way, I'm super happy you're here because we have to get justice for her. Right? The police did not do anything, unfortunately. They did not. I've been shaking. Listen, when he called me that night, he did not sound sympathetic at all. He was not sympathetic. He was very bully. He kept saying, oh, you know, yes, I saw her and I didn't bring her. I said, nobody said it was you. I kept my composure. I said, nobody said it was you. But the fact is, you're the last person saw her. When I asked him personal questions like what she was wearing, he was iffy. Pants, skirt, he was iffy. If you saw her that morning, why didn't you remember?
I do understand you're upset about the response time of the police.
Yes, yes.
And as I said, this was one thing that I picked up. I've been from 9 o'clock this morning, and indeed from last night with the commissioner.
May I tell you one thing, sir? Sorry to interrupt. When we went to the police, I didn't go, I'm sorry. She went, he went.
What time did you contact them?
They went there, what time did you guys
It was about 8:15.
8:15 a.m.?
Yeah, because they said that
yesterday.
can't go until 24.
Who advised you that? Who told you that? But
went
just,
to the-
so I just wanted to
think one
use
of-
this opportunity to say that DCP, you can repeat that policy was revised. I believe it was
But the
revised.
police told us that when we went there. Mr. Carter, Officer Carter, told us that when we went there.
DCP, we need to use this opportunity to make it clear.
Yeah, because nobody is aware of the new
And
changes. We're
providing
not
all
aware of
this
it.
information that we have to him at this point in time.
At what time was that?
When we were making the
At
statement.
8:30?
At 8:30, around 8:30 because 15 we get there. And when she was writing the statement, I was there advising him, giving him all the info, and he had all this info at that time.
It's a very
So
important
from
point to
that time
note.
till about the next day in the morning, no one has visited the suspect or even made an attempt to contact him.
Yeah.
That was all us.
Yeah, we all
No
did
one
that.
else. That
We
was
had to
all
go back.
us.
We
That was
tested
through
and did
our
it.
network.
Yeah.
Nobody.
Is it the same suspect that we're talking about? The
Yes.
custody versus
Yes.
another?
Yes.
But my understanding is a little different. That they in fact made contact with the Crossroads police. And they
That was
actually-
after the fact.
After the
That's
fact.
after
After the fact. And I got a call.
The following day, that was the following day, that was the Thursday, they made
Yeah.
contact, the Crossroad police,
Yeah.
and he was not there, he was not seen, he was not at work. That's the information I got, which was the following day.
So what I wanted to point out, and as I said, I know there are many questions about the response time. We can't prosecute the case in public, especially if we want justice. And we wouldn't want anything to be said here that would in any way impair the investigations that are underway. And I don't want you to harm yourselves either. So I want us to just be very, very careful in what we say. And of course, we don't want to give anyone any defense. We don't want them to know what you know. So we share that with the police until it is time for full disclosure in the legal system.
I became aware of the matter when you were on CBS. That's the news. I immediately, that's the commander, before the news, while the news was going on, I made a call to him. That's Commander Clear. I got some information, and based on my position, I can get things move faster than others. And I made contact with the appropriate agency and gave them certain specific instructions which were carried out. But I will reassure you that the investigation is well advanced and justice will be served. I can't go any further, but it is well advanced and justice will be served. So I just want to reassure you that when there is a missing person, the report is made to the police. There is no timeline attached to that. A risk assessment is done based on the individual and other factors. Let's say it's a person who, from time to time, we have had several reports in respect of that one, of that individual. Then we would not, that's like a high risk. But if it's a situation where it's the first time the person was reported missing, then that is given certain priority. And then once that is done, the communication unit, the CCU, and all the details, photograph of the individual is sent to CCU for publication to the various media houses. The Divisional Intelligence Unit, that is they are actually tasked with some responsibility. Based on the assessment that is made, the Criminal Investigation Branch is engaged to do the investigation. And there are some other internal protocols that I can't disclose right now, but that's how we definitely treat with missing persons.
Based on the information that Mr. Carter, police actually gave, he told me that he was sending him in the night. Same time when he gave him,
Yes.
but he called me the following day and told me that it was because he was sleeping.
What we want to do is to give the assurance that the leadership of the police force takes these matters very seriously. And we do pay special attention to violence against our women and vulnerable. And we are noticing an increase in the number of violent events and indeed fatal violent events against women and children. Now, there is a long-standing battle with the culture of the country, of which the police is a reflection of that as well, that we tend to dismiss these kinds of domestic violence, interpersonal, intimate partner violence as man and woman business or family business, and the level of response is not what it ought to be. In this dispensation of protecting the individual right and the inviolability of the person, our culture does not respect the inviolability, that is the privacy of the person. So we don't have any reservation in touching, hitting, and of course you can see how that advances eventually to killing. And that's a cultural issue which we will have to change, because it will take us decades, but the government has to start that. Now, as it relates to your daughter, yes, Khanice, when I saw it, like all Jamaicans, we were immediately saddened, but that sadness quite quickly turned into outrage. And we're noticing almost a trend developing. We've had a similar situation in Portmore before, just a few weeks before, with a double murder. What is happening here? We have to look at it. There might be other dynamics at play, and we have to pay close attention to investigating the specific case, but to look at some, broader considerations that may be at play.
Because one suggestion I might put in place or suggest the implication of pepper sprays.
So, I can't address those issues and the provision of personal protective defensive equipment.
Based on my knowledge, isn't it illegal at this moment in time?
I'll allow DCP.
It's a restricted item.
I know female officers very.
Yes. Yeah, but it's restricted. It's a restricted item.
So there are many things that will come out now, and there are many suggestions will be made. We take all of them into consideration, and sometimes in the emotional state of our grieving, we may be inclined to go in directions which may not lead us to solutions. So we have to be careful. What I wanted to do today in visiting is to assure you, because that's a big assurance, that the government takes this matter very seriously. We are observing the trend and we are putting in place measures to address them, especially as it relates to violence against women. The general principle of a quick response time is something that you will have my assurance of, that we are going to revise and review the internal processes. Already I know they have reviewed and revised, and there's a new policy in place regarding missing persons. As to whether or not that policy has filtered down to the administrative level, that's something that we will have to correct. But it cannot be in future that any police officer is dismissive of the public or treats lightly any report of someone who has been missing and potentially in danger. There is a great deal of frustration on the part of the police and fatigue, and you will see come out in response. But the police, above all else, is a professional body, and so they have to be able to manage that frustration, that fatigue, and always remember what their motto is: to serve and protect.
We have the right person in custody, and it's just a matter of going through a process. And once that process is complete, we'll elevate it to another level. But we are certain that we have the person in custody.
And I want to thank you as well for your own initiative.
Thank you.
Right? It's very important that you have, exercised your own good judgment, that you have done so within the law. I hope you didn't put yourself at risk in doing it, but I want to thank you.
We have also recovered some of the property of your daughter. And some other things. I don't
go into
details. And we know how the incident happened. We have recovered some additional things that points to how it happened, and we have an idea of when it happened. So it's just a matter of going through that administrative process, and then subsequently, bring the matter to the other hand.
The government has invested heavily in the forensic capabilities of the force. It's not where it should be, but it's certainly better than where it was before. So even though there may not be witnesses, the forensic evidence is oftentimes, well, always stronger than personal statements and affidavits. So this case, I'm sure, will rely on the forensics. So, and I'm raising this point because of the question of justice. Oftentimes you want justice, but you don't have the evidence. So now I think that they are building a case, a forensics case, as well as, the overwhelming evidence could lead to other evidence being brought forward by the perpetrator. So I am fairly confident that we will be able to bring the case very quickly to the doors of justice. it would be up to the judiciary at that point in time to pronounce on the case. Of course, the strength of the evidence brought will determine the level of justice given.
I hope he rots in jail for my only child. She is my only child. And right now, my life just fall apart in front of me. I don't know when it is going to come back. It's just the both of us living here right now. Just me and her, just the two of us. And now she's gone. She's never coming back. And I really want him away for good. And the other thing, I don't know if he done this thing before either. Probably he just get caught. So I think I want the court to take him off the street for good. Let him rot in jail so others can see him.
You know, I've expressed in private my condolences to Eunice, along with other things and other support that we will give. Nothing that we can do will make this any easier.
No.
But your request for justice
Yes.
is one that stands very well and close to my heart. Based upon where we are in the investigation, that we should be able to very quickly put a case together,
Right.
a strong case, and put it before a judge, for a judge to decide. All right? And we are here to support you in every way possible. You should know that the entire Jamaica has you up in prayer,
Yes, I
and
know
the entire
that.
Jamaica is
Entire
embracing
world.
your family at this time. All right? So, God bless you.